Welcome back to episode 8 of my Minecraft series. I've got a few different things planned for today. First, I want to finish off the floor and my tower because I think that's going to give it a much more completed look. Second, I want to build another ring that goes up to my tower and finish the glass and the end rods around that bad boy to add a little height to our tower. And third, I need to build a bamboo farm that's going to fuel our super smelter. That way we don't have to worry about getting coal. During my last stream, one of my viewers, bruh LOL, recommended that I use bone blocks for the floor of my tower, and I think they look super good. I love the texture of the lines that go through the bottom like this, so I think having bone blocks go across the bottom of this base is gonna look super cool. Plus, they sound cool when you walk on them. I mean, come on, that sounds awesome. But what you see before you is already about 4 stacks of bone blocks, which is ridiculous. So first things first, we need to go AFK at the mob farm and get as many bones as possible. Oh, and you already know the drill, time-lapse mode. It's been about 30 minutes, now it's time to go see, oh gosh. This is a lot closer than I thought it was gonna be. Anyways, it's been about 30 minutes. It's time to go see how many bones we collected. And it's a lot. Holy cow. We've got 4 stacks in here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stacks in there. 2, oh my gosh. This is beautiful. We've got more than I can actually currently carry in my inventory. All those bones got us about 9 stacks of bone blocks, so hopefully that's enough to do a decent amount of the floor. It didn't. We got that far. That's it. That's about 15 stacks of bone blocks just right there. I mean, this looks like nothing. This genuinely looks like nothing. This looks like I placed about half a stack of blocks. But no. That's 15 stacks of bone blocks. This might have been a bad idea. But just look at how well it blends in with the end rods. I mean, it looks like end rod blocks. This is going to require a lot of AFKing. And do keep in mind, we eventually will have an inner tower to this thing that will take up a majority of this area. But the inside of that is going to be floored as well, because I think that's going to be the chest room. So yeah, we still got to cover this whole thing. 4.5 hours of AFKing later. This just feels wrong. I mean, that is 33 stacks of bone blocks, and I'm not even sure we're a quarter of the way there. I mean, I either need to AFK for about 2 days straight, or I need to beef up the farm, which I think is a better idea, but that's not on the list of plans for today. So I'm going to let my camera account go AFK over at the bone farm, so hopefully we can be gathering bones, and I'm going to start building up a 3rd ring to this tower to start adding a little bit of height. I should still have a decent amount of sea lanterns somewhere in here. Yes. How many do we have in here? Perfect. That should be enough for another ring. And unfortunately, even though we love it, the weenie is going to have to go. I'm kind of debating on leaving the high here just because I love it. But weenie is going to have to go. This is where it starts to get kind of difficult to build this because you got to figure out at which block it starts to go up. And from this angle, it's kind of difficult to see where that happens. So I think this goes here, and I think this one starts a new layer. It does. And now it starts to get really, really difficult because it's pretty much impossible to tell where it changes layers from this height. I mean, right here is a change in layer, and it's almost impossible to tell. I mean, you have to really look to see it. And the 3rd ring should now be fully constructed. Yep, looks good. All that's left now is to bring up all of the glass and end rods to meet that level. Now, I don't think I have a whole lot of glass left over from last time. Yeah, that definitely isn't enough to do an entire ring. And I don't think I actually had any end rods left over. This might be enough. We've gotten about an inventory's worth of end rods, which I think will be enough to get a whole ring. I don't know, I'm gonna go for it. As far as glass is concerned, we definitely need to get some into the super smelter because I don't think I have any smelted at all. We've got ourselves a full inventory of white stained glass and end rods, so now it's time to see if that's enough to take us all the way around this bad boy. I've pretty much run out of end rods. I don't have enough to actually do another layer of this thing, but 2 inventories worth of resources got us about halfway around the circle, which is nuts. It means I gotta go back to the blaze farm, farm a bunch of blaze rods, go back to the end, get a bunch of chorus fruit, and to be honest with you, I don't really want to do that right now, so I'm gonna go start working on the bamboo farm. I've spent a few minutes testing out some designs, and I think this is the one I'm gonna go with. It just makes the most sense. It's super resource friendly, and it works extremely well. Plus, we can expand this thing as far up as we want and as far out to the side we want. as long as we have all the right resources. The only bad thing about this farm is that occasionally we do get a piece of bamboo that gets stuck on these blocks and doesn't actually make it into the water flow. But from my testing, it seems about for every 4 pieces of bamboo that end up here, there's about 1 that ends up here. So we're losing about 20% of our bamboo, but with as big as this thing's going to be, I don't think it's going to be an issue. So without further ado, let's crack on to building this thing. I'm thinking it would look really good to have a bunch of farms in between my tower and where the outside wall is going to be going all the way around. But I'm nervous to do that because I'm not entirely sure where this wall is going to go. I mean, this is the rough draft of where I think it's going to go, but that's subject to change. So I'm not too sure if I want to try to put this farm somewhere along that wall. It just would be so cool to be able to look outside of this tower and see all the farms working. I think I'm going to try it. I think I want to center it along this side. So I think the center of the farm is going to be somewhere along this line. But now I just got to figure out how far away from the wall I think it should be. Because I know the wall is probably going to be about 3 blocks wide on each side. Potentially more. This is the problem. Potentially more. I don't know exactly what I want for this wall yet, so this farm might end up moving, which could be a massive pain in the butt. But you know the old saying, when life gives you Minecraft, you just try stuff, and if it doesn't work, then you move it. First things first is to place in all the dirt that our bamboo is going to be sitting on. Next is to place in all the glass where our item transportation system is going to go. And now if we place some water, we should see it flow down quite nicely. Yep, looks like we did everything right. I decided to use sea lanterns as the background block, A, because they look dope, and B, because it'll keep our farm well lit. Next thing is to place in all of our observers. Now the row of pistons that's actually going to break off the bamboo. And last but not least, a line of redstone that will actually detect when the bamboo has grown, push the piston out, break it, and start collecting our bamboo down at the very end. And now that I look at it, I realized I've just built this in the wrong order. The pistons are supposed to be on the second block, and the observers are supposed to be on the third block. Because as of right now, the observer would detect when it grew to this spot, this piston would fire, breaking nothing, and then once it grew to the third spot, nothing would happen. That's not what you want. So now I've got the painstaking task of going through each of these and completely redoing them. Don't you just love redstone? And that should be one section of this thing almost completely done. So if I grab a piece of bamboo and grow it to the 3rd level, it should break the bamboo and it'll flow on down beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and build up this glass just to make sure no items get flung out or something by accident. Now all I got to do is extend this thing up about 4 more times and, well, you know me, I'm addicted to time lapses, so let's time lapse it. And that should be this section of the farm fully complete. I do plan on expanding this thing quite a bit because I think in its current state it's going to be a little too slow to keep up with our super smelter. But for as simple as this thing was, it seems to be really efficient. As you can see, we're still losing a few pieces of bamboo there, but just from standing here for about 5 minutes, we got almost a stack of bamboo, which is super good. I think what I plan on doing is having about 3 of these stacked up next to each other. So it'll start from the bottom here again and go back up, start from the bottom, or start from the top here and go back down like that. That way it's just this kind of like cascading effect of bamboo falling. It's going to look really good once it's all completely built. The last thing I got to figure out for this thing is some kind of storage system, because I have absolutely no means of storage. I mean, I have Cody's little area, but that's not even mine. And I've got those few chests that are scattered out in front of my castle, but I mean, come on, that's not real storage. And the problem is, I was planning on creating the chest room kind of in the middle of this area once this middle tower was built. But to be honest with you, I don't think this tower is going to be done for at least, you know, a month or 2. So I think for the time being, I'm just going to have a little hopper system with maybe 6 chests lined up here just to collect all the bamboo. And then once I actually get some storage built up inside of my tower, I can have it all funnel inside of there. After a brief moment of intense decision making, I decided just to have 3 hoppers lined up here with 3 chests that are slowly going to be collecting our bamboo. But the bamboo farm is now complete, and now it's time to head back to this monstrosity and try to get this thing finished up. Because earlier in the episode, I just kind of gave up on it because, well, this is a lot more resource gathering that I need to do, specifically bones. So, yeah, I guess it's time to go AFK overnight. I unfortunately just have no other choice. There's no possible way to get that many bones other than to go AFK for an extremely long period of time at this thing. But herein lies another problem, that this storage system is puny. I mean, this thing will fill up in probably less than an hour. So I need to expand this pretty greatly if we're going to actually be able to store enough stuff in here. And there we go. We have completely expanded the storage on this space. It looks good. I'm going to go ahead and go AFK at this thing overnight to see if we can't get enough bones to fill in the rest of the bottom of the floor of my tower. To be honest, I'm kind of pessimistic on if this thing's going to be able to hold enough bones to even be able to do that. But I guess we'll find out, huh? Unfortunately, I think people were on last night because this thing wasn't near as efficient as I was hoping it would be. We don't have a whole lot of bones, at least definitely not enough to finish up the floor of my tower. But I'm gonna grab what I can and see how much I am able to do. Hopefully we get a decent amount of progress done. We ended up with about 10 stacks of bone blocks, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these put in. Hopefully it gets us to about the midpoint. I honestly don't think it will, but hey, we're gonna give it a shot. And once again, I was sorely mistaken. I mean, we're closer to the middle. We're a little bit closer, but those 10 stacks only got me about 6 layers of bone blocks. And we've got, what, 12 until we get to the center point? That means I'm gonna need around 5 to 6 inventories worth of bone blocks, which unfortunately I don't think I'm gonna be able to do in today's episode. However, what I can do is finish up this little ring here. So, I'm gonna go do that. I believe I've gathered up all the end rods and white stained glass that I need, so let's get cracking on finishing up the third ring of this bad boy. And just like that, we have finished the third ring to our tower. And of course, this wouldn't be a proper Lanny Boy video if we didn't take a look at the tower with shaders on, so boom! Oh, it just continues to look better and better the taller it gets. I mean, looking at this thing from the inside, it just looks so massive. And I'm extremely excited to get this bone floor put all the way in because it looks extremely cool with as bright as the floor is with the whites of the glass and the end rods. It just looks epic. And I think that's going to be a great note to end today's episode on. I unfortunately didn't get to finish the bone floor down at the bottom there. That just takes way more bones than I thought it was going to take. But we did successfully build up our tower by another ring and craft our bamboo farm that I'm extremely proud of. If you could, leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. That would be greatly appreciated. And if you have any cool ideas of things I can put inside and or outside the tower, be sure to let me know down in the comments because, well, I'm not great at having ideas. I will see you boys in the next one.